Hello my friends, welcome to your practice. Today we're going to focus on the lower body, going to give a lot of emphasis to our feet and ankles, but we may well get a bonus experience with our knees, hips, and maybe even into the spine and shoulders too. So it's going to be a journey from the ground up. You know how I roll, my friends, those who've been riding with me for the last almost 11 years now doing this. Thank you. I really hope this serves you. So let's start by kneeling. So you want to find a position that is as comfortable as possible for you to kneel. So feel free to grab any props at all that might help you do that. You could put me on pause and then come back and join us. And I'm going to offer this one to you, which is a little bit gnarly sometimes, but let's just see how it goes. You're going to tuck your toes underneath and then sit on your heels. So from the side, something like that. If this is too much, just like with everything else, skip it, do something else. And you could always come forward as well to make it more comfortable so that you're not having so much weight, particularly in the opening of the base of the feet, because that's where we're going today. So make sure that it's working for you. Let yourself land. And welcome yourself here. Maybe you can check in with everything that's in contact with the ground right now. This support that's always there for us. Sometimes we forget it and we get a bit lost up in the clouds or in our heads. But it can be useful, I think, to always reconnect, to get grounded, to explore that at least, and what that means to you. So anatomically, in the feet particularly, there's around 36 bones, if I'm not mistaken. I'm sure someone might correct me in the comments. And even more joints. So actually I think it's 26 bones and around 30. It's actually, there's a bit of a tension there with exactly how many joints there are. But there's many joints in the foot, and you can probably feel and get a sense of that through your toes. So notice here as you're sitting, maybe it feels interesting to rock a little bit side to side. Look out for any kind of tenderness. Do pay attention to anything that your body's saying to you always. And this particular posture, this kneeling posture, can be so great for just opening up the channels in the base of the feet. So if you're looking for one thing to do to help you get grounded, it's just getting into the base of the feet, opening up. You can do that in all kinds of ways. I've got other videos where you can roll with balls and things like that. So as I said, this one can be a little bit gnarly. We're just here for a couple more moments. Can you tell I'm trying to distract you with like random fun facts? So if it is feeling too much, you know, you can always come out, take a rest. Those of you that are still here, we're slowly going to come out together. So come forward onto your hands, and you're going to push yourself up towards a squat. So any way that you can get there. You might be in a squat with your feet together. You could separate the feet nice and wide. I'm going to go wide. That feels better for my ankles and my knees and my hips. And I invite you here to explore, maybe just kind of doing a turn, rolling from side to side. So again, this one can feel like quite a lot, particularly if you're not used to working much with your feet. And here I'm not saying that to kind of tell you what to do at all, but more as a kind of invitation for you to give your feet some love. They hold us up, they support us. They're what's in contact with the land. And they're also an energy point. So you can access all different parts of the body through the feet. And if you want an example of how that works, I've got a video. I don't know if I can link it for you somewhere, but I'll put it in the notes, in the show notes below. Is that what we call them? There's a video, I think it's called Magical Monkey Claw. And that's where we explore very gently how we can actually loosen up and open up the entire back body and create space just from one tiny movement with the foot. So do check that out if you haven't already. Okay, So here we go. We're going to come into some sort of forward fold. You make that as accessible as possible. I recommend having the knees bent. So first start with the feet. So from the ground up, you can just unfold. And I like to keep my knees bent, grab hold of my elbows and gently sway here. And just like with any kind of posture that we're coming into, it can take a bit of time to unfurl. And if you're anything like me and you hold tension in your neck, that can be one of the last areas to kind of let go. So see what you can do to really unravel through the back of the neck. You could even just help yourself, just coaxing really gently, just to the base of the skull. And then from here, you can deepen the bend in the knees. We're just going to come up to standing. So whatever feels accessible for you here, you could roll up, you could press into the feet and rise up. Depending on your mood today, just find yourself in a standing position. Give yourself a moment to arrive. And then just sense your feet. How does it feel to connect to the ground in this way? Can you sense the support beneath you? And if the answer is no, that's okay too. I would really invite you to be gentle with yourself and talk nicely to yourself and just explore and experiment what that could look like for you, what that could feel like for you. And you might experiment lifting up the toes, giving them a wiggle. It can be a bit weird. And while the toes are lifted, see if you can lift all of them up. See if you can just put your big toes down. Oh, it's weird. Then lift all the toes up. See if you can just put your little toe down on each foot. And then see if you can unclench your jaw, lift all the toes up. And then put your big toes and your little toes down. So the 3 middle toes are lifted. Ooh, weird. And then release that. Walk towards the top of your mat. If you're using one, don't worry if you're not. And we're going to move through a little flow. So find your base. I'm hip width distance apart, but you do you, baby. Press into your feet and you might bend the knees a little to really sense you're sending the energy downward. And as you do that, maybe you want to reach the arms up. And then we're going to do a kind of Karate Kid move. Yeah. Bring the weight into your right foot, lift up your left heel, and then just sense what balance is like for you today. You might gently pick up that left knee all the way. You could also lean on something. You could lean on a wall, have the arms anywhere that feels interesting. And then as slow as you can, you're going to deepen the bend in the standing knee, and you're going to send this left knee back in space like you're drawing a line across the floor behind you. We're slowly going to transition towards a lunge. So just do what you can to get there. Arms can be anywhere at this point. You could reach them forward. You could kind of have them out like wings. And then from this lunge, we're not going to hang out too long. We're going to rotate and pivot to the left. So really sense your foot. Let the foot lead the way. So you end up with both feet turning out in this kind of goddess pose or horse pose, depending on your preference. You could have hands on your thighs here, but we're going to do a little bit of shoulder stuff. So from here, press into the feet and then sweep the arms up into the air, get long through the torso. And then as you take the arms down, just cross your left arm over the right, then bend the elbows. That might be enough. Maybe you come towards eagle arms. Perhaps you wrap the forearms, maybe the palms touch, maybe they don't, it's a-okay. But either way, press into the feet, then inhale, lift the elbows up. And as you exhale, fold forward. As much or as little feels good here. And on your next inhale, you're going to rise up. Let the elbows lead, but stay connected through the feet. And then unravel the arms, take them up into the air. You could straighten the legs at this point by pressing into the feet. Take a breath. Legs are working. And then rebend the knees. And this time take the arms with the opposite arm on top. So right arm over top of the left arm. Inhale, lift the elbows. Exhale, fold forward. And on your next inhale, slowly rise up. You can unravel the arms, straighten the legs, reach overhead. Then rebend the knees. Now we're going to turn towards the opposite direction. So lead with your feet. We're coming into a lunge. So now we're facing behind us. And then from this lunge, we're preparing to come forward to that Karate Kid move. So wherever you need your arms to be to help you get there, start from the floor. I was about to sing, I won't. Really feel into your feet, particularly that front foot. And then start to shift your center of gravity. So you're coming forward, left knee bends, maybe it lifts up into the air. And then we're going to go back in the same way. So flowing in the other direction, slow motion, come through your lunge, land wherever you can, and then pivot. This time to your right, so you know what's coming. Same sequence. You can inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, right arm over top of left. Inhale, lift the elbows. Exhale, fold. On your next inhale, rise up. You can straighten the legs as you unravel the arms if that feels a bit more like some relief. Then as you exhale, bend the knees. This time cross left arm over right. Inhale, lift the elbows. And exhale, roll it forwards. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, unravel. Inhale, maybe straighten the legs. Exhale, rebend and start to pivot. Nice. And then slow as you can, shift the weight into the right foot. Come all the way up. Find your balance. And then release both feet to the floor. Take a moment. Landing, feeling, sensing. And you might well notice here whether you can stand in a way that is kind of even through your feet. So notice if the weight is more towards the toes or more in the heels. And see if you can find a kind of circumference of your foot to distribute how you stand. So you just press down. And I'm going to turn to you. So we're going to do a little bit more balancing. I know. Balancing can be really helpful for grounding and for focusing because all of our attention just has to deal with what's at hand. Okay. So you're going to shift your weight into your right foot. So spread the toes. Maybe lift your left heel. Maybe this is where you stay. And you could turn the knee out to the sides. And we're in tree. Those of you who feel that you want to, you can lift up the left knee, turn it out to the side, and then use your hand to gently place the foot, the top of the thigh, or maybe even the calf. Just try and avoid the knee joint. So again, with balance, if you struggle with balance, try not to be hard on yourself. It's shifting all the time. I've got a tutorial on tree pose if you want to really break this down a bit together. But otherwise, if you feel comfortable, hug the foot and the inner thigh or calf towards each other. So there's a drawing in of energy. You could also focus on something on the floor in front of you to help with balance. Then we're going to add more layers to this because, you know, there's always more layers. The challenge is just really trying to stay with ourselves and not overdo it. All right. So you're going to take the arms up in the air and we're going to imagine we're trees blowing in the wind. So take your left hand down to your left thigh, you can let it rest, and then reach the right arm up and over. So it's like a side stretch in tree. It's kind of tricky. So if you're wobbling obviously take care of yourself, but like maybe you can notice through your foot how it's working to really support you. It's a nice reminder, I think. And then really slowly, we're just going to side stretch in the other direction. I know, so you could put one hand to your hip and take it over. Jaw is soft. And then slowly find center, both arms up. If you can, bring the palms together. This one gets a bit weird, but we're going to fold forward in your tree. So it doesn't have to be far. See what you can do. Really nice. On your next inhale, come back up. Maybe even separate the hands and take a little back bend. Goodness me. And then release. Slowly take the foot to the floor and then just feel. Is there any difference? Doesn't have to be. And then we'll just switch to the other side. So tree pose, other foot. Take your time. So all the while we're just practicing being really present. By starting from the ground up, we're not trying to kind of get ahead of ourselves, really pile things on without really setting our roots. So hug in, find that energy. And then you can reach the arms. And then we'll side stretch in the other way. So go slow. Take your time. Soft jaw, soft eyes. And really notice your standing foot supporting you, side stretching the other direction. Can you stay with yourself? Can you lean into the support? Do you struggle to lean into support? Come back to center. This time both arms up, palms come together, if that's accessible for you. Otherwise hover and then fold. So you can bend a little in the standing knee, absolutely. And remember, with the fold, it doesn't mean it has to be super deep at all. And just moving the spine in all directions. And then rise up, separate the hands, maybe take a little back bend. High. And then release that. Both feet to the ground. Just take a moment to feel. How are you feeling? And then bring the feet together and see if you can bring the ankles towards each other. They might not touch. It just depends how we're made, and we're all different, and that's a wonderful thing. Now we're going to lift the heels up, come high onto the tiptoes. And you're going to slowly bend the knees. My joints are like, yeah, some space. I'm just going to come all the way down. If sliding down via that weird chair feels too difficult for your knees or your feet, just skip it. We're just going to come towards a squat. And then you might well have the feet staying together and just open up the knees. And then from here you can bow forwards. If that's accessible, you could take your arms behind you. You could let the head go. And then however it's possible, take the hands to the floor. Bring the knees down. And you're going to sit back on your heels, but this time with the top of the feet down. So kind of try to really open up the top of the foot as well. Again, if this is feeling too much, just skip it. You could also have a blanket underneath you. That can feel really nice. You could roll it up so that it supports your ankles. I think this is not like promoting other videos. It's just in case it's helpful. I've done a video before with like opening through the feet and the thighs and quads, I think quads and calves. And there's some stuff there that might be helpful for you if you need it. So from here, we're just going to shift the weight from side to side and see if we can shift it with the lower body in focus. So as opposed to kind of leading with the shoulders, we're trying to stay low, keep the energy low, base chakra, vibes, roots and culture, feeling of home, security, stability, foundations. Those of you that feel it's possible, you could come all the way over to the side. So this is kind of a little bit deeper, obviously. This can be a really nice one for opening and creating space for the feet, ankles, knees and hips. You can come back through center and then just shift over to the other side. So here the knees might separate, that's totally fine. And then you can go side to side with that, go at your own rhythm. Arms can be anywhere. Just feel how that feels. Don't know about you, but needed that. All right. When you're done with that, we're going to come onto our backs for some gentle relaxation. So come on down. And then if it's comfortable, you could stretch the legs out, just see how that feels. And just to close, you're going to separate the feet enough so that you can bring both feet, both toes, sets of toes towards each other, and then turn them out like windscreen wipers, like in and out, in and out. You could do that slow, or you could do it fast, depending on your preference. And then when you feel you've had enough, just let the feet, legs, hips, shoulders, head rest on the ground. Feel welcome to close your eyes. Soften the front of your throat, belly, groin, front of your thighs, base of your feet, palms of your hands. So let the front body get really soft, tender, as you rest the back body into the ground, into the support behind you. This can be a process, so be patient with yourself. Just allowing yourself to rest here. I recommend hanging out here for a while, taking all the time you need. For those of you whose time's up today, just start to wiggle through the toes. Then one by one, bend the knees, bring the feet to the floor, and just feel that connection once again. Make contact. And maybe even notice how that can really help to settle the low back for many bodies. And then bring the knees up towards you. You could hug them in. Take them a little side to side. And roll over onto your side. Push yourself up. Let the head come up last. Find any comfortable seat. And again, start with your base. Take a moment to feel, to really notice the support. Sometimes I like to use my hands as well. Really let yourself land. Bring your palms together, symbolic of whatever you want it to be. All parts of us being welcome here, and the seagulls. I really hope that offered you some space for your feet, ankles, lower body. Feel welcome to come back and use this practice as and when you need it. Thank you so much for practicing with me. Bowing to you and the support that's always here, always around. See you soon.